Hello.
Hello everybody
and welcome back
to the next episode of
Israel
Unleashed.
Good morning. How are you today, everybody? How are you, my friend? How are you?
I'm
Everything
okay.
good?
Yes.
Nice. So, today's topic, we wanted to talk about forgiveness.
Yes.
And I think forgiveness is a very, it's an important factor, an important part of life, I think. You always have enough drama, enough interaction with people sometimes that things don't go the way as you plan sometimes, and feelings get hurt, people get hurt, and you know, at the moment you're all heated up and stuff, but in the long run, after you relax, after you calm down and stuff like that, you should ask for forgiveness. It's important. Why is it important? Because it's, if God can forgive you, then you can forgive another person, so it's important. I've in my life, you know, when I grew up in America, I had a lot of craziness and a lot of things I didn't realize I really did until after I moved here, and then I kind of like more along the line relaxed in life and stuff like that. Then I kind of sat back and I thought about my past and things that I've done and how I've affected people and what kind of wrong I've done and what kind of good I've done or whatever. So I had time to reflect, you know. So, you know, I had a couple people that I guess was like an open book, you know what I mean? I affected some people in a bad way, and it was something that stuck with me for many years, you know what I mean? And because it stuck with me for so many years, I figured, you know, I was thinking to myself after like having that moment of reflection or whatever, I was thinking to myself that maybe I should call them up and ask for forgiveness, you know what I mean? Close that door, move on in life, because once you know you close the door of something, and you don't think about it anymore. You know what I mean? It's like over and done. It's past, and you've been forgiven, and you move on in life. You know. But when you have open doors in your past and stuff like that, it's good to close. In my opinion, it's good to close. You know what I mean? And so I had a couple people I called up on the telephone, and I said to them, "You remember what happened?" And we had the story. We talked for a minute and stuff. And this is like, you know, maybe the first time in years that I've talked to these people, you know what I mean? And of course they remembered it, man, and it's something that resonated with them until now, and it was an open door for them too. So giving them the chance of opportunity to close the door between myself and that person and stuff like that, and ask for forgiveness. I mean, there were a couple of people I did call, and I didn't get the forgiveness right then and there that I wanted. I asked more than once, and I called more than once, you know what I mean? And in Judaism, if you ask more than 3 times, then it's not really your fault anymore. You know, if you've asked, if you're not granted, it's not your problem anymore. It's not your fault.
But it's not a matter of mathematics.
No, but I mean,
it's
important that you've done your part. I mean, taking the action is everything, if you ask me, right? I mean, it's a big.
Show your intention.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's a big step to confront not only your past, but like, you know, things that maybe either you've done wrong or they've done wrong. Even if you haven't done anything wrong at all, it's important sometimes to ask. Because you absolve yourself and that other individual and stuff. Like, you know, there are things that are in people's past and stuff like that it's not your fault. But sometimes, you know, you being the better person and cleaning your hands of the situation of the past, it's for the best, you know. I mean, it's a righteous move, you know what I mean? It's important to do these kind of things, because, you know, forgiveness is everything, you know what I mean? Because it helps you go forward and helps that person go forward. And it closes the door of what took place, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes in life things don't go your way, but I mean, sometimes you do things and it seems right at the time, but necessarily in the long run it isn't, you know what I mean? But still, if it isn't, and whatever, and that person's been hurt or affected in a certain way that you feel that you're uncomfortable with and they're uncomfortable with it, it's important to say, you know, look, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you, you know what I mean? And it's important. So I called a couple people up and I said, you know, look, remember the story. Remember what happened, and you know, it's been something that's bothered me for all these years, and I think it's time for me to say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you. It wasn't my intention to hurt you, you know what I'm saying? And in the end, you know, I mean, you'd be surprised after time passes, it almost heals wounds sometimes. Not all the time, but to call somebody up and have them forgive you, it's a good feeling, man. And to be able to close that door is also, it's a good thing. Because sometimes, you know, from your past, you know, you don't want things left open. Life is like a storybook. You know what I'm saying? You have your action, you have your adventure, you have your ups, you have your downs, your depression, your positivity. You know, you never know sometimes how things are going to happen and stuff like that, or how you're going to affect other people. I believe people do come into your life and affect you in a certain way and help you to get to where you need to be. But sometimes things don't turn out right. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's important and it's godly and holy to say, look, remember then, I'm sorry for this and I'm sorry for that. And it's important if they say it back to you. You know what I'm saying? I say I'm sorry to you, you say sorry to me, and we end it equally and fair and stuff like that, and we move on in life. You know, I mean, you don't know. It's like saying good morning to somebody in the morning. You don't know how it's gonna. You don't know how it's going to affect them. You know what I mean? You don't know how they're going to walk away from it. But I mean, if somebody, I know somebody that I actually did something to. What that I hurt them, and I didn't realize until after some time I hurt them. But when I called this person on the phone and I said, I apologize for that moment. I didn't mean to do that and stuff like that. I mean, I know that made that woman's day. You know what I mean? She was like so thankful that I came after so many years, even though it took so many years to come, to say, please forgive me for what I've done because I didn't mean to do that to you. And we're good friends, and we've been good friends ever since childhood. But the fact that I actually came and said I'm sorry to her, and I don't want you to be hurt. I didn't mean to do that to you. I mean, that meant the world to her. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it was a good feeling. Basically to close those chapters of my life and open up some new chapters in my new life now. Was important to me. I don't have any regrets, and I don't have anything that holds me back from my past anymore. And it's a good feeling, man, because sometimes you have things that people tend to hold on to, and they don't know how to let go. And this is where forgiveness comes in sometimes. Sometimes you have to have the courage to confront these kind of things in order to close those doors. You know what I mean? Because in my opinion, I think it's important to close these doors, because then you're able to move on in life freely. You know what I mean? You don't have something holding you back. You know what I mean? Because if you keep something like under the surface, and it's like kind of like resonating or rotting and stuff like that, it can affect you in the long run, and you don't really want that to happen, because what's happened has happened, and the past is the past. The only thing you can do is go back and be like, I apologize for what I've done, and move forward. You know what I mean? Because you can't. That's the only way to fix it. You can't go back and change anything, because what's happened's happened. You know what I mean? It's important to. It's important to go forward in life like that. It's
Yes, I agree. I wanted to mention that I also had the opportunity to ask for forgiveness for a person I hurt. I didn't know how to start apologizing, because we weren't friends. I was a student, and he was a teacher at the college. And I was not behaving so good at his class. And actually, when I told it to some of the people at my work, one of them told me, "Listen, you should apologize. You were not okay." So in the same week, I saw this guy. I saw this teacher at the store, and I didn't know how to approach to him. So and I didn't want to throw the listen, forgive me, bye. I didn't want to feel like that.
It takes a lot of courage, man.
I didn't know how to start, so I realized I have to renew my relationship with him.
Okay.
In order to go to the point when I'm apologizing. So I offered him help with his things he bought.
Okay.
And I hold it for him. That was one time. And after I did it, like something like 2 months after, something opened inside of me, and he was doing sports at the street, and I was waiting for my arrive to work, and I just, in the middle of his walking, I started to ask him, "Listen, I was your student, I was behaving not good towards you, and I asking you for apologize." And it was like looking at me through his walking, and I see no reaction on his face, but I understood that he heard me.
Right.
So it was like awkward a little bit, but it's good. I feel that I maybe not till the end. Actually, I wouldn't prefer to have more relationship to comprehend till the end that he is completely understands me and forgives me. But it was some move towards forgiveness, and I feel better about this.
Nice.
And also, I wanted to say that many times I was on the opposite side. That I was the one who should be should forgive the people who hurt me. And one way to do it, I'm trying to understand their motives. And when you understand that the motive of this person wasn't so bad, and it was only a weak part of his character who moved him to act the way he moved, you understand that it's not something evil. It's like his weakness.
Right.
And his lack of ability to comprehend situation and understand that the benefit of behaving better towards others is the best thing. And once you understand it, you are capable to forgive. It's only weakness.
But the error is human, as they say, you know.
We all of us.
Oh, none of us are perfect. You know what I mean?
None of us are perfect. None of us understand what is behind our thinking. Like we prefer to handle ourselves better than we understand we have to behave towards another. But with time we understand that all of us are equal in the same way.
Right.
And we should be friends.
Yes, we should.
And when I do something for you, or something against you, you will meet me. After some time, it wouldn't be bad to both of us.
Right.
You know, we have open
Open dialogue.
open dialogue and not finished, and it really stops your life from evolving. So
Well, being a human, sometimes you realize that, sometimes your emotions get the best of you, and there's not much you can do. I mean, you can be having a bad day, and all of a sudden you flip out on somebody and tell them whatever, and it can hurt them. You don't, and you're so angry, you don't care. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But when you calm down, you realize that I hurt that person, and it's important. I say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you. I mean, I'm okay. I had a bad day, and I didn't mean to take it out on you. I mean, something normal like that. But I mean, you realize sometimes that sometimes you do things in life, and then you hold them, and it stays in the core of your your body. And I honestly think the core of your body is like your soul. Spiritually, when you hold on to things, it's almost like a cut, not on the body but the soul. You know what I'm saying? And if you want that to heal, you have to put a Band-Aid on it by saying, look, I did this, and remember this, and I'm sorry, and stuff like that. And you realize that door closes, or that pain goes away, and you never think about it ever again after that, because you've closed the door on it. And I think us being human, our soul runs us a lot. Mm-hmm. It's pretty much the central piece of our body that gives us the skills and the motor and all that stuff that that runs us on a daily level. And when you hold stuff so dearly and stuff like that for so long, and you need to get it out, and you need to get it off, it helps to ask for forgiveness, because once you ask for forgiveness, then you have no pain anymore.
Or when you are capable of forgive to another.
I mean, sometimes it's not easy. I've
it's not easy at all.
It's not. I mean, especially when you just said you have to confront somebody.
You have to overcome your pride.
You have to overcome your pride, but you have to have the courage to walk up to that person. I mean, it takes a lot for a person to walk up to somebody and be like, you remember, and I'm sorry, or whatever. It takes a lot, man. It's not an easy thing to do. I mean, especially you have to humble yourself and in a way sometimes embarrass yourself to a point, because you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable position that because of your pride you're not used to doing.
Like you confess that you are not good.
Yeah.
Good in this point. Yeah. You are not okay. You are not someone to take an example from.
Right.
So, but really, it's the best moment of your honesty.
I mean, if you could be true to yourself, which is important, you know, I mean, it's not such an easy point to get to also, but if you could be true with yourself, you could be truthful with other people, man, and, you know, you've overcome and conquered barriers that you kind of, and walls that you put in front of you, man, because you've kind of overcome them, you know what I mean? And, you know, I mean, and the couple of times where I felt that I needed to do what I needed to do, I mean, it took a lot of courage to call somebody up and be like, especially, I mean, yeah, it might have been 20 years ago. I mean, and they might call, they might answer the phone, I hate your guts, and look what you've done to me, and you ruined my life. I mean, who knows? I was actually thankful when I called this one person up, and she said to me that calmly and coolly that, like, you know, I understand and I appreciate, you know, and was thankful for what I've done. You know, I mean, the feeling after that was amazing, because then I was like, God, I can breathe again. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like I took something off my chest and let it go finally. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you know, I didn't realize what kind of damage I was doing until like after the fact. I mean, it took me years to kind of, you know, and I explained that to her. It took me years to kind of understand. I didn't realize at the time that, yeah, okay, I did that, man, and you know, I didn't realize I hurt you. You know what I mean? But I mean, when I did it, like, kind of sit down and I reflected on myself and things I've done in the past, it helped me. You know, I mean, it helped me understand, like, you know, this is the direction I need to take, and I need to be a good person. This is the start of how I need to do it. And it changed my life in a lot of ways, because, you know, I mean, now there were a lot of things that I've done as a child and stuff were like destructive and out of control, and it took me, when coming to Israel, to realize that, like, wow, I mean, like, I was like a bull, like running into things, not even paying attention to what the outcome's going to be or how I'm going to affect people. And then when I sat to reflect those moments, and then I realized, wow, I mean, like, I'm even shocked that I even did that kind of stuff. Because you don't realize what you're doing at the time, especially when you're young. You know, you have so much pride that, you know, you don't want anything to hurt you, because it's like an armor. You know what I mean? You don't want to tell somebody, like, you know, I'm sorry, you know, but it's important to, you know what I mean? I mean, you remember as like a child, they teach you, like in school, like, you know, you hit a kid or you've done something wrong to him, to apologize to him. They teach you as a child to do this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? You know, when you get an argument in
yes,
school and
I
stuff
remember.
like that, you know.
I had a good teacher, actually.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know, I remember.
First classes, she was.
I remember as a child, like, you know, I was fighting with kids and stuff like that, and the teacher.
What you're thinking about apologizing? Like, it's humiliating for.
It's human, you know what I'm saying? It's important. I don't really think that people sometimes take the grasp of what being a human really is, you know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of things that, you know, we always have to work on one another, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's important that when you work on yourself and you come to a certain level, that then also you can help other people with certain things and stuff like that. I mean, maybe not really help them, like guide them with their hand and stuff, but, like, you know, you tell them, like, you know, if you try this and do this, this might help you. Try to be a little more humble, try to be more human and stuff like that. And if they understand where you're coming from and they're in the same kind of level and mind frame, that they can grasp what you're saying, you know. Because, like, sometimes, you know, some things are like way up there, you know. I mean, you could say all day to somebody, bless you, something. See, that's the truth. You can say something. You could say something to somebody all day long, but they might not get it till they go through that situation. You know what I mean? But I mean, you know, being forgiven or asking forgiveness is almost, if you ask me, is godly. You know what I mean? And because we love God and we believe in God, and, you know, God has taught us to be who we need to be, I think it's important. You know what I mean? This is one of his things, and who might argue with him? You know what I mean? I mean, honestly, I think it's a blessing if you can go to somebody, you know, and you've done wrong to them, or even if you didn't do wrong to them, or they've done wrong to you, and still ask for forgiveness. It's a big step to be a better person than them, or yourself, you know, than who you used to be. You know what I mean? If you can be the better person and be the bigger man, as they say.
I think asking for forgiveness is part of becoming a better human being, especially when it's coming from the place when you stop behaving like you behaved before. Exactly. Because the forgiveness should be honest, right?
Exactly.
It cannot be game. So in order to ask forgiveness truly, we have to change our ways, first of all.
True. But this is what God, I think, in point, this is what God wants from us. You know what I mean? He wants us
Of course.
He wants us to be better people. He wants us to change ourselves and stuff like that. And you know,
He wants us to regret about over the things we've done and ask for forgiveness.
Exactly. I
And,
mean, who knows how many tests that every day He puts you through? You know what I mean? That you
know.
that you even yourself realize. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Everything you come across, I think it's a test for you, how you're going to overcome it, or how you're going to, you know, how is the outcome going to look? You know, what does He want from you? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes, you know, you have no idea what He wants from you, but you know that He wants you to work on yourself and be who you need to be and stuff. But how do you know who you really need to be and stuff like that? Because it's a lifelong lesson.
I personally feel every minute that He wants something from me, and I'm obligated to do it, and I'm not fulfilling my mission. That's the feeling I got even when I'm speaking to you right now. So when I do something good, like asking for forgiveness, it releases from me this some amount of this feeling, and makes it be easier.
True.
Something like that.
I mean, honestly, when you have like a clear conscience, as they say, I mean, you know, you don't have something that's like in you bothering you or like holding you down. You know what I mean? I mean, when you have stuff that's holding you down, I mean, like it weighs you down in life. You know what I mean? It takes a toll on you. You know what I mean? Until you sometimes confront it. You know. And a lot of times, a lot of things that we do, it's not easy to confront. But I mean, if you can put yourself and humble yourself in a certain situation and make yourself better and realize that, you know, it's okay, I do this, you know what I'm saying, and make this happen, you'll see the change that comes from within, you know what I mean? And you'll feel that not only you'll feel that you'll be the better person, but you'll feel that you've done good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's important to do good because, you know, really this is why we have mitzvot, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because it's for us to do good, you know what I mean?
The mitzvah is connecting us with God. That's what the mitzvah, the meaning of the word mitzvah is like to come together with Him. So makes you to become closer to God, and of course, every one of them of this mitzvahs, He wants you to change your way, and asking for forgiveness is part of it. Because we are not, you cannot understand in real time how to act, especially when we are young.
Sure.
Not speaking when we are adult. As an adult, we do all kinds of mistakes. We even don't want to understand. We are not capable of understanding our mistakes, and sometimes asking for forgiveness is the only thing we can do. Even without changing our ways, the fact that we are regret about something we cannot change right now, it's an important step towards changing.
That's true. You know, you asked me not too long ago if I have any regrets towards things, and I said to you, no, I don't have any regrets. It's because of that, because I've asked for forgiveness, and
because you all the time you
I've
ask
kind of clean the slate.
I
as they say,
understand.
but
Because
and then
when
they-
you told
then
me
you-
this, I didn't understand how come
Yeah.
you cannot have those regrets.
Exactly. But I mean, you asked me. I told you I'd go and redo it again.
Yes.
I mean, I wouldn't change anything because I wouldn't be the person who I am today. But
and understand.
I'd go and do the same
now,
thing
now I
again.
understand you.
Now you understand.
Okay.
Thank you. But I mean,
Forgive me for not understanding
no,
you.
not at all. But
Then-
this is what made me who I am and stuff like that. And I'm
Because
glad-
I personally have a problem
yeah.
of asking forgiveness and when I should. And this feeling is growing inside of me till the point I cannot stand it. And then I ask.
Right.
You understand? I cannot overcome this emotion of being, like you said, humiliated and not humble. I cannot overcome this. So till the level I cannot stand it, and then I ask for forgiveness.
True, but I mean, yes. When you ask for forgiveness,
Understand me?
it's for the other person to a point, but in a way, it's really for you.
Yes, of course.
You know what I mean?
It's for both of us, but
The one who reaps the more benefits out of it, I think, is you yourself. You know what I mean?
yes,
Because when you're cleaning the slate in your own soul, and the blemishes and the scars that are on your soul as it is, or what weighs you down, I mean, it's not weighing you down anymore. So you're getting more. I think more of the benefit from it than the person who you're actually giving it to. You know what I mean? That you're in a way that you're showing that you're the better person. You know, you have the courage and the strength.
Showing to yourself.
Yeah, but you have the courage and the strength not only to show to yourself, but to show to the other person, like, you know, look, I've done wrong. And, you know, if you can forgive me, then that would be great. You know, I mean, it can be done in many different ways, probably. But I'm just using that as an example. You know what I mean? But
And also, we have things who are we cannot solve it today. Like we have some big thing with some person, and in order to forgive each other, we have to go the long way. Everyone should be understand what happened, and it can take time. It can be a matter of you know, many years.
I had an interesting thing happen to me, man. Like, you know, I mean, I had children with a woman and stuff like that, and this is something I've been. Don't want to say I tried to close the door on, but there's a lot of heartache and pain and stuff like that I've carried through my life because of this person, and I didn't feel I accepted my responsibility towards, you know, the whole situation, and I realized I didn't do anything perfect, and I'm not perfect, and she did wrong and I did wrong and whatever, and we hurt each other and she hurt me and whatever, but you know, I asked for forgiveness, but I mean, in the long run, she told me yes in the beginning when I asked for forgiveness, but in the long run, then she told me I don't forgive you anymore. Like she took it back.
Took her forgiveness back.
Yeah.
She started to resent all over again.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's a process.
And then she put me again through the same pain and stuff like that. But I mean, like, I realized
we have cases who were not meant to not to be closed.
True. I mean, it's a situation. I mean, I'm going to be with that. Even though we're not together, I mean, I'm going to be not physically together, mentally we're together for the rest of our lives, because we have children together, and you know, I mean, we have to take care of our kids, no matter if we like each other or not. You know what I mean? And it's not a situation that's going to be resolved, but it'd be a lot easier if it was. You know what I mean?
Maybe it will be. Don't lose your hope.
No, I mean, you know,
and
it's something honestly I keep continuing to work on and stuff like that. You know, even through my kids. You know, what I mean?
So understand it's a process.
It is a process, and it's not as painful and whatever. I mean, I managed to let go of a lot of stuff that did bother me, because I had children early in life. You know what I mean? I did a lot of things early in life compared to like other people. You know what I mean? That's why sometimes I look back in my life and I realize, wow, I mean, when I reflected on it, I realized how destructive I was. And at the time, I didn't realize I was destructive. I was just being me, you know. But you don't realize what you are and who you are until, you know, you have time to reflect. You know what I mean? And you know, I managed to be able to take care of what bothered me so much and held me down for so much, because that was one thing that really, like,
maybe with time you will understand. Those mistakes that you did weren't mistakes.
No, I mean, I think it was meant to happen. It was meant to be, you know what I mean? But
it's you know what I want to say, that through time we reevaluate our deeds.
Right.
So something that looks final to you right now can look like it's the middle of a process tomorrow.
Sure.
Understand?
I mean, I personally think that everything you do in life, good, bad, whatever, it's written down like in what they call the book of life. You know what I mean? And when you do good deeds or you do positive things and stuff like that, I think God writes it down, or His angels or whatever write it down, whatever. But you know, it's written there. And like when you get judged, He repeats it back to you and tells you everything that you've done. You know, good or bad. You know, but. You know, I mean, if you continue to try to do good in your life, you know what I'm saying, and you try to make a positive impact not only on yourself, but other people that are around you, I mean, I think that's important. It brings you to a higher level in a certain spiritual realm that, you know, that you're not into right now, but you're in a spiritual realm that you don't see, but it brings you closer to God, you know what I mean, and really that's a person's goal, you know, is to bring closer to God, because this is what He wants from you. He wants you to become close to Him. And, you know, I mean, even like, you know, there's sometimes I get angry at Him, you know what I mean? And I sometimes pray and I don't say positive things to Him and stuff like that, but, you know.
Listen,
I even say to Him, I apologize, you know, and like, you know, I mean, I wake up every single day and I say, thank you, I'm alive, you know what I mean? I thank you for my children, and I say thank you for my health. And
I wanted to tell you
know.
that when the relationship between us and God become closer, we feel more free to express our true feelings. And those feelings, they are allowed not to be positive. Because this is the meaning of being true.
True.
When it's true, you can be mad at me, you can be angry with me, you cannot accept the way I run the world, and it's okay. And the true praying, and it's when you say express your truly thoughts towards Him. You understand? So it's all new subject for
Well,
one of our episodes in the future.
exactly. I was just thinking because you just gave me an idea now about free will. You know, I mean, God give you free will. You know what I mean? And if He didn't give you free will, it'd be a lot different. You know what I mean?
No, He did.
No, I'm saying He'd give you free will and stuff like that. But if He didn't give you free will,
Okay.
it'd be like a whole other ball game in life. You know what I mean? You'd be forced to do what we're telling you now, like forgiveness and do other things, because He'd punish you. You know. You have free will to do things. I mean, He reflects on you to come from yourself to say what you need to say.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes from you, I mean, it's like a big difference than if like you didn't have that chance at all. You know what I mean? I think it's important that like if you have free will to do what you need to do and stuff like that, and you're noticing to yourself that look, I've done wrong, and look, I didn't mean to hurt you, and I apologize and stuff like that. I mean, it's important. I mean, this is like the one thing that's like exciting. I don't want to say exciting about Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. It's important to say to people, that what happened during the year or yesterday or whatever. I apologize and be clear and free of whatever you need to be. You know what I mean? I think it's important, and this is what makes this holiday great. You could do bad and God doesn't forgive you. I mean, there are some sins that He does not forgive you for, but I mean, there are sins that He does.
If you show your regret,
True, and you're sincere about it.
your sincere regret, it's not. It can forgive you, but in order to clean you, He has to punish you.
True.
You understand? Because and if you're decent enough to understand that you want to be clean, you're accepted this punishment. You understand this punishment is in order to clean you. It's nothing to.
Well, it's just like forgiveness. If you know you've done something wrong, you know what I mean, and you know that you need to be punished for it and whatever. But it's like you've done something, you go to jail and you sit there for a while and whatever and like that, and you realize I've done wrong or whatever, and you rehabilitate yourself. I mean,
Yes.
I honestly don't think that jail works today like it should, but I mean,
I think the jail is worked, not the way he should, but
Yeah.
he's doing his job on the soul of a person who's sitting there, because he understands.
that's true.
that-
But like sometimes you have a lot of people who go to jail and like they get out and do the same thing again or whatever, and it's
The-
like
the fact that jail
it's like they
doesn't
never
work,
learned. You know what I mean?
Yes, true, but well, it's also a subject to talk about.
That's
let's,
true.
Let's say it like that.
That is true. But I don't know. Like it takes a lot to to realize yourself that like I've done an error, and I've done wrong, and and it does take a lot of courage and a lot of respect not only for yourself and pride. To humiliate yourself and lower your pride. I mean, it's a big step in life. I don't really think that people realize how big the step until they actually have to go through this. You know what I mean? But I mean, I can tell you from experience that the feeling's overwhelming, and it's like great. It's like it's almost as equal as saying like you've done something good for somebody. I mean, if you had to walk them across the street or wash them or change them because they can or whatever like that, or you save their life. It's almost the exact same feeling. You know what I mean? It's just like it affects you in your heart. You know what I mean? And that's important because that's pretty much the center of what runs you. You know what I mean? Because without the heart, you're nothing. You know what I mean? You have to have the heart and the brain to work in order to basically run the body. You know what I mean? And if you don't have a heart, you don't have that, man. But it's important when you can realize from inside that I can be that person. And realize I'm going to be that person. I think it's a strong thing. You know what I mean? it's important to humiliate yourself in life. You know what I mean? As weird as that is to say, you know what I mean?
No, it's actually it's true words. Nobody say it.
That nobody does say it, but I mean, like, you know, I mean, if you know, I don't know. I mean, personally, I didn't have my parents raise me and tell me this is how you should be in life. This is me self-teaching myself. You know what I mean? I taught myself how to be this kind of person, and I feel it's a blessing, honestly, to be this way. You know what I mean?
Listen, parents, when they have to raise their child, they give us the hints in order to start your life. But they cannot teach us how to behave in after several years that we are living and starting to have sins.
Right.
And have all kinds of bad relationship between us and the environment. They cannot guide us through through those moments, because their their intention from the beginning is to make us to be good people, okay?
Right.
And they cannot guide us how to handle ourselves after we become worse than they thought we would be.
Right. Okay.
So it's like it's complicated, and this is the part when we, as growing beings, fulfilling towards one another,
Right.
something like that. Like we teach our friends and we help ourselves how to become better. It's like we continuing the the history, the education our parents started with us.
Okay. No,
It's something like that.
It's an enlightening statement. It's nice.
Yes.
It's definitely well said, and I think you're right. You definitely, you basically, I don't, what's interesting is that, like, the most memorable parts of, like, your life, that you like, that always stick with you is when you're a child, and what you came from your parents and stuff. Because being an adult and stuff like that, life's going on, you're working, you're taking care of kids, and, like, I mean, how much time do you have to yourself really to think during the day, that, if not the week, that you can think for yourself about, like, this kind of topic, you know what I mean?
It's not easy.
No?
And life built this way that you won't have not enough time to think about yourself and what you're doing in this world. You're always busy going to work and do some things to cook, to eat, to see sports. You don't have enough time to yourself to realize.
No, you have many, like, responsibilities, and they're dragging you in certain directions. And your kids are taking you. They want things, and they demand things, and
yes,
you know what I mean. Like, by the time you pull out all your hair, you know what I mean. You're like, you've given already, But I mean, even like,
not enough time to, to think about the most important things.
True. I mean, but you realize when you're a parent and stuff like that, and you can take your hand, the hand of your child strongly, and guide them in the right direction. It's important, I mean, it even teaches that in the Bible. You know what I mean?
Of course, you should.
I mean, like, I noticed, like, when you're doing, like, morning prayers and stuff like that. I mean, it even says that, like, you should grab your son and tell him that we came out of Egypt, out of slavery, and we came out of this to out of bondage, and we have freedom now because.
One thing is to read about this.
Right.
Another thing is to
do it.
To do it.
Exactly.
In the adapting to the reality we have, among us.
Right.
So it's not easy.
No, it's not.
One thing is to see it in the book. Second thing is to feel it in life.
Exactly.
And in reality is becoming more harder each day, and you have a lot of cynicism in life, and people do not respect each other, and it's not easy. So
no, not at all.
I think
nowadays it's even more than like ever. You know what I mean?
We came to times when we have to become serious about our meaning in life, and hold on to that, because
yeah, it's interesting. Like, I know
time is running out. That's
Yeah,
what I can to say.
That's true. I see the interesting fact that, like, you have certain events have taken place in history and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, it might have been a couple hundred years ago, but people demand that you say an apology for this. You know what I'm saying? Because of your either race or color or whatever like that. I mean, I don't want to say I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because you weren't there and you didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So you don't really have anything to really technically to be apologizing for.
You're talking about toward Jews, like.
I mean, I go to Germany right now and demand Germans apologize for the Holocaust. I mean, really, that person didn't do anything, and they weren't even around. I mean,
I saw.
That's not an apology at all. You know what I mean?
I saw at my work one German guy came and he was fixing our machines, and he saw me and he looked at me in this way like, and I could read inside his mind almost like I don't get what my fathers wanted from your fathers.
Yeah.
I saw it in his eyes.
Well, that's funny because a lot of people carry trauma from the past. I might have not gone through it, but I mean, it's something I think we're taught and stuff like that because of one generation after the next. You know what I mean? I think this is why sometimes people hold.
I think today we can have a real dialogue with German people today,
right?
And teach them not how to feel guilty about the sins of their fathers. Instead of it, we can have a real dialogue between our generation, and now we can look at each other and speak freely about important things in life, and this is the way we can really reach the real meaning of our existence.
Right.
So
I think that's nice. That's not too bad. That's a good thought. But you have to. I know. I see you have a lot of people who kind of demand, they demand that they deserve an apology and stuff like that. But I mean, there's a time and place for being apologetic to somebody. You know what I mean? Something that's happened as a whole. I mean,
Listen,
that's one thing. But when it's like something between you and I and whatever like that, I mean, that's even more. That's more worthwhile. You know what I mean? Something for a whole, you really can't be you can't blame that person for that. You know what I mean? But when something physically it's done one thing to another, that's something that you should be I should apologize for. And I think that's important. You know what I mean? Nowadays, I think there's a lot of confusion about certain things. You know what I mean? And because of that tends to send the wrong message. You know? And sending the wrong message is not a good thing. You know what I mean? When you're sending the right message to somebody, and that way it can get through. You know what I mean? And getting through can fix the situation or the problem at hand. You know what I mean? And can help you move forward. You know, and I think that's important. And something as a whole and happened in the past. I mean, it has nothing to do with you. I find that kind of baffling. You know what I mean? I'm just I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. But you have people who do believe in that, and whatever. If they want an apology, and even if they need one, I have no problem saying it. If it makes you feel better, that's my intention and my goal in the first place.
Okay.
If that's what makes you feel better, I'm here to help you. I'm here to give that person the love that they need. You know what I mean? Okay. Because sometimes you never know what people are going through, man. Walking up to somebody, giving them a hug, how's your day, whatever. You never know how to fix that person. You know what I mean? Emotions is everything, you know what I mean? And how we act in our character is also, and it's important to be who we need to be. But I mean, this is what's hard to be sometimes. And this is where forgiveness comes in, because to err is to human, We're not perfect. We are who we are. But I mean, if you got the courage and the strength to be like, look, I've done you wrong. I've done this. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And you accept it, and I accept it. Makes it all worth better, you know what I mean? It makes life complete, man. You clean the slate, you wipe the page, you can move forward, it's not holding you back, and this is what's important. To be who you need to be, and this is what God wants from us, and
I agree.
That's a true blessing.
I agree.
And being blessed is everything, man, and all you can do is say thank you for that.
The original intention of God towards us.
Exactly. The message is the same from the beginning until now. I mean, it hasn't changed. You know what I mean?
It has many colors.
Yeah.
but similar tendency.
Exactly. So I hope you enjoyed. We love you all. Welcome again to Israel Unleashed, and hopefully we'll see you again in the next episode with Ellie and Keith. Till then,
Bye-bye.
Ciao.